Hi.
Hello friends. Today we're here to do an interesting little sort of
discussion.
Sana from Books and Quills worked with Lena?
Yeah.
From Just Kiss My Frog, and they did a little discussion about lending books and borrowing books and how that works with the two of them. How they treat other people's books, how other people have treated their books, what they lend, what they don't lend, and how they keep their own books in their own collections. So considering that that is a topic that has come up on this channel a couple different times in regards to The Fault in Our Stars and various other pieces of literature, we decided that we would do our own little take on it and talk about some of the same things that they did.
Yep.
So we're first going to start with our feelings on lending books. And I think both of us are fairly okay with lending out books as long as we know that they're going to an appropriate, good, temporary place.
Yeah, you kind of have to know the person a bit. You're definitely not going to share your book with some random kid that comes up to you in class. It's like, I saw you reading that book and I've always wanted to read it. Can I borrow it? You'd be like, no, who are you?
I don't know you.
I need your social security number and your fingerprint. But then we can work something out.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you definitely have to know them. You have to kind of know how they treat your books before you
treat their own books.
Before you would be willing to consider them as a possible lender
candidate
person.
Yeah. I think that being said, both of us tend to take somewhat of a pristine approach to our collections. We don't like to write, we don't like to bend, we don't like to snap, nothing of that sort. Nothing gets highlighted, nothing gets tagged. At the most, there gets a post-it note.
I don't even stick post-it notes in mine.
I don't enjoy
If I have something interesting, I write it down on a pad of paper and say page 227.
Exactly. I believe this topic also came up when we had Math and Books was really big into writing on books, if anyone remembers them. I'm not sure what happened to them, but they were very adamant that writing in books was a thing that everyone should be doing, and I think we're definitely not in that camp.
No, we're definitely not into writing, and obviously you would never write in somebody else's book either.
I definitely feel that lending is something that you should do. You should definitely be perpetuating books throughout the community at large.
Sharing different things if you think it's worthy to share, then that's definitely good.
Yeah.
There's somebody who's willing to read it. Like, I have a friend of mine who wants to borrow The Hunger Games, and I just purchased the series, so there's definitely a possibility for lending in the future.
Well, that being said, what books do you often lend out?
Well, Diversion's been a popular one, because I lended it to you and another friend, and I've definitely recommended it a bunch of times. I haven't physically handed a lot of people that copy, but I've definitely, word of mouth wise, I've recommended it a lot.
I have a coworker who keeps copies and copies and copies of Ender's Game, and he basically forces them on everyone that comes to work in the building. So I was one of those people. I now have the full 8-piece set that goes with it, and I have 2 different copies, one of which I keep in the set, and then another one which I think you have right now.
Yeah, I have Ender's Game and Ender Shadow, which you have lent to me.
I have lent to you. I don't do a lot of lending. I lent my aunt some of the Flavia de Luce books, which I have not gotten back in years, and I actually need to follow up with that now that I think about it. But I don't do a lot of lending. I do a lot of recommending.
Yeah.
More so than lending.
Yeah, there was a different level between recommending and lending, obviously.
I think a lot of the time that everyone wants me to recommend things rather than lend it to them because I just don't have all of my books with me all at the same time, often.
Yeah, because you're like in one place and your books are in another, so you just might say something to somebody and be like, oh, I don't have this book on me, but you should really read this. Like, if you had the book on you, you would have given it to them.
Exactly.
That sort of thing. I've had friends who are interested in reading a Song of Ice and Fire series. I own all those books, but I don't bring them all to school with me. But I would have lent it to them
big.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to carry them if I've already read them. But they were interested, and if I had the books on me, I definitely would have lended them to them because they are worth a read, and they were interested in them. So that would be another potential lend. I feel like everybody has a story or two about lending books. Maybe not perhaps a horror story, but just a point where you were like, I really wish I hadn't given them that book because of something that happened. I lended out 4 books to the same person. They had them for probably a year, and I knew they had them. I had it on a post-it note, like in my laptop, that this person has these 4 books and I need to make sure I get them back. And when the time came, there had been a recent flood in that area, and they were living in the basement at the time. And so the books got they didn't get water damage, but they got kind of, like, the covers were kind of weird and stuff. And also I only got 3 of them back. We don't know what happened to the 4th one. Luckily, it's not one of the books that I absolutely love, but the fact that I lended out 4 books to the same person, only got 3 of them back, and the 3 that I got back were kind of not in the best shape afterwards. Yeah, not the best. So because of that, me lending out more than 1 book at a time to somebody is probably not going to happen. It's going to be, here is this 1 book. When you finish this 1 book and hand it back to me and it is placed in my palms, I will give you the next one.
Yeah. We used to, in the summertime, pick out like 12 or something books from each
other, yeah.
And then read them. And that never turned out to be much of a problem.
Because we appreciate them.
That's true.
We take really good care of our books, honestly. Like, compared to other people. Yeah. We are definitely very good at taking care
Even
of
when
them.
I lent Rebecca The Fault in Our Stars, she took some pretty good care of that. I wrapped it in a couple towels and a plastic bag.
But remember, I licked it, so you
did not lick it. I'm not believing you licked the book.
The cover. You just don't want to believe it.
Ugh. In her video, Sana talked about a personal library kit that she had just received, and it looks really great. It's got a little stamp and those little cards that fit in the pockets and little book plates and stuff. And that's definitely a good idea.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I'm all for keeping track. Having somebody's phone number down so you can be like, hey, buddy, remember like
Where's
6 months ago when you borrowed that book from me? I would really like it back.
I just keep track right now in the back of my reading journal. There's like a login, lockout. Who has this book? What is the name of it? When did you get it back? When did you lend it? Couple columns.
You just gave me back Night Virgin. You've had it for a long time, like probably a year. And then, but I knew in the back of my head that you had it. And then I know, like, I'm still missing that book from that person. So I'm kind of waiting on that, but not really.
No expectations.
No expectations. No. Thank God it was not. It was Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, in case anybody is curious. Still waiting on that, but it's not the end of the world if I never get it back.
Yeah. So those are our thoughts on lending books. We hope to hear what you have to say too, because we know a lot of people like to mark their books and don't really care what happens to them. Paperback, hardcover. I knew a girl once who wrote all over her hardcover copy of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which I thought was sacrilege, and she never let me forget that I thought was sacrilege.
Because it is.
It is.
Like, she Sharpied the pages. Like, that's sacrilege.
Why would you do that?
Oh, God.
Anyway, if you have thoughts on what you do to your books or what other people have done to your books, please leave us your favorite story.
We'd love to hear any horror stories that anyone has, because we feel for you. We do. We honestly do.
That being said, have lovely weeks, have lovely lives.
Bye.